Hello, my name is Samantha Tovar, and I will be doing my project on the notebook. Okay. So the notebook is the story of Noah and Allie. They fell in love in 1940. This story is being told in the present tense through a notebook that Allie actually wrote when she was diagnosed with dementia. She knows that she's going to forget about everything, about Noah, their whole love story, so she decides to write it and tells Noah to read it to her every day so that she can relive their love story and not forget it. By the end of the movie, Allie and Noah end up dying in each other's arms in the nursing home, which was pretty sad but also pretty cool because it really showed how their relationship went. The characters are Allie, Noah, Lon, who is ends up being one of Allie's he was Allie's fiance at one point, and Allie's mom, and then John, Allie's dad. These are just the main characters that are shown quite a bit throughout the movie, so that's just what I chose to do. The concepts I will be going over today are friendship and romance, managing relationship challenges, stereotyping, triangular theory of love, attachment styles, and self-esteem. So on to the friendship and romance. According to the textbook, romantic relationships are all about mating and creating a family. So that'll be how you relate romantically to people, where you will find your romantic relationships. And then friendship is about finding a number of commonalities with somebody. So how you relate in platonic friendships. The scene that I chose for friendships and romance is the scene where Noah meets Allie at the beginning. They meet at the fair, and he kind of sees her, is intrigued by her, so he asks about her and then starts talking to her, and that's where their friendship kind of grows. Throughout the movie, starting with that one scene, he keeps asking her on dates, trying to be a little bit more than friends. And so you get to watch their relationship grow from friends to romantic partners after spending quite a bit of time together. Friendships and romance. I'm kind of going to touch on both of those different definitions. So the reason that we have friendships is to build a sense of belonging, give you a purpose. You usually have your friends to support you when you're going through difficult times, to kind of be there with you and get you through it. On the other hand, romantic relationships are to give us like a kind of passionate feeling, as you would see in the notebook. They give you somebody to grow with throughout your whole life, and or at least you would hope, and they give you a kind of feeling of permanence because of just the passion and growth that y'all are doing together. The next concept that I'm going to be talking about is managing relationship challenges. According to the textbook, it is defined as consistent patterns or approaches people use to manage disagreements with others. So that'll be how you react to resolve conflict with others, your body language, the volume you use when you are resolving that conflict. So for this one, I referenced the scene where Noah and Allie break up the first time, because they do that a couple times during the movie. Their body language is kind of angry, as you would expect, passionate. They're fighting about what they usually fight about in the movie, which is Noah not being good enough for her, and her completely disagreeing with that. So there's a lot of slamming. They use very loud voices, and for this first fight, they're really forward with their emotions. So they just come in swinging with all of the emotions that they're feeling. So managing relationship challenges, that comes as a package deal with friendships and relationships. When you have relationships with people, there's just always going to be conflict. People are different. There's misunderstandings. We're human. So what you would have to do is just be aware of how you are managing your conflict. I put some examples of what it would look like to have a healthy conflict management, which would just start with listening to the other person, sharing how you're feeling, second, and then coming together to find a solution. I feel like that's a very good way to healthily resolve conflict with another person. The next one I have is stereotyping. To stereotype, according to the textbook, would be to place a person or group of persons into an inflexible, all-encompassing category. So in short, that would be to judge a book by its cover, as I would say, or not learning about someone before making assumptions. Some examples that I used for that were Noah. The start of many of their fights, as I said earlier, was that Allie's from old money, and he felt like she was too good for him, and that causes a lot of problems in their relationship. And then I also used an example that when Noah went to the family event with Allie, her family stereotyped him as poor because he was in the working class and he had to work with his hands for his money. In regular old life, stereotyping happens automatically. When you look at somebody, you're going to automatically categorize them. The way to fix it would really just be completely aware of it at all times. I mean, you may have even felt like you were stereotyped before, which is most likely true. So stereotyping is just kind of a part of everyday life that we have to be aware of and try to do a little bit less of it, get to know people before we make judgments. And the next one would be the triangular theory of love. The textbook definition would be the theory that all loving relationships can be described according to 3 dimensions: intimacy, commitment, and passion. So that would be how close is a couple, how committed is a couple, does the couple show passion for each other, encouragement. The example I used for this is the iconic Notebook rain scene. Most of y'all probably have seen that, even just in passing. They show intimacy through talking about their emotions about the past couple of years. They show their commitment by not giving up on each other, and they talk about like how Noah wrote Allie letters that she just didn't get to see, and then by the end they obviously show passion for each other because that kind of shines through it all. This is important to the movie because it was kind of their thing, if you will. You can look at all romantic relationships around you in real life and see that it is a big part of all of them. And it's usually the more successful relationships that you see because they have all 3 of these aspects. Next, we have attachment styles. The textbook definition would be a style of relating to others that develops early in life based on emotional bond one forms with parents or primary caregiver. So the different types of attachment styles would be secure, dismissive or avoidant, anxious, and fearful. So as I said, it's usually developed early in life. The example that I used for this is that Noah builds Allie a house to try to get her back, which would show the anxious attachment style. He doesn't want to lose her. Allie shows a more fearful attachment style with her tendency to be unpredictable when conflict arises, and the reasons for these attachment styles, I believe, from watching the movie, is Allie's used to having things not be her decision. Her parents usually make her decisions, and so she's kind of wanting to be on her own in something like this. And then Noah is used to being alone. He's works for himself. I mean, he's got his dad, but not really much anybody else. I used this one from the documentation that I needed. I found that indeed one of the most important risk factors for mental health difficulties is heightened and pathological self-criticism. I see this a lot in Noah when he self-criticizes himself throughout the whole movie, not feeling good enough for Allie. So that's why he would build a house to try to win her back, and stuff like that. And then we also see this in Allie because she's self-critical because of her family. They expect her to be perfect and like them, so she would be very self-critical about that. Next, we have self-esteem. Self-esteem is defined in the textbook as your evaluation of your worth or value based on your perception of such things as your skills, abilities, talents, and appearance. So that would be how you identify yourself and what's important to you. Noah puts a lot of value on what Allie and her family thinks of him, and so that really affects his self-esteem, which would also feed into his attachment style, as we were talking about earlier. And that really does become his identity as the movie goes on. His obsession with getting Allie's approval and her family's approval becomes kind of like what he's living for. So what I learned from that is basing your self-esteem on another person's perception of you can make it truly plummet, which is not healthy. As you can see if you watch the movie, he was not doing well when Allie left and when he wasn't getting that approval. Low self-esteem can affect how you live. So if you're not feeling good about yourself, you're not going to want to go do things or try new things or make yourself better. So what you would need to do is just talk yourself up. I've always been told that you've got to kind of compliment yourself and be nice to yourself until you feel like you can do anything. Raise your self-esteem, and then your life will just go a lot easier. In conclusion, I kind of put a long paragraph for this one just because I felt like I really did get a lot from it. There's a lot of concepts in life that we overlook and we just don't pay attention to it. So if we just learn about them and actually apply them, we can do a lot better in relationships and communication just by doing that. Here's my cited page. And yes, that's what I had from this project. Thank you for listening.